Ladies and gentlemen, and honored alien guests, welcome to the declaration of the United Space Probe Agency's Charter. We shall call the Fleet branch of this Starfleet to honor Zephram Cochrane, who disappeared in 2123. I quote, "We shall go out and explore strange new worlds, seek out new life and new civilizations, and boldly go where no one has gone before." Beep, beep, beep. Come in. Captain, the delegation is due any moment.
Understood, but I do not like meetings.
What are you watching?
The Federation founding in 2161, but it's the holonovel version. It has some errors.
Ah, Barclay's infamous holodeck thing. After all these years, you'd think someone would correct it.
Unless it is a paradox and it didn't happen that way at all.
I know how you feel about those. I have lived through several. Yes, they can be annoying. You come into the bridge?
Captain on the bridge!
At ease, Ensign.
Yes, sir. I'm so eager to be on a starship. You know, my mother and my sister served on starships. Reminds me of me, minus the snark. Excuse me, Lieutenant? Pay no attention to my wife's quips. You will live longer. She's probably fun at parties.
I bet.
That's fine. Has the delegation arrived yet?
They're late, as usual. That's why we told them it was a half hour ago.
Did that work?
Nope.
It sure is weird being back here after all this. I feel like I'm in two places at once.
I feel it too, and it is annoying. It reminds me of Wilson's brief appearance.
The Traveler Kestra made that visit only for a few hours, and then returned her to where she came from.
Regrettable, as the timeline has changed. She is now back to being the curator of an anomaly.
Engineering is ready, and the slipstream drive is working. It'll be okay if we steer clear of meeting our other selves.
Oh, I think we're in the clear on that, Commander.
You know something is missing. Kestra and her gaggle are missing. They're assigned to other starships, except for 2, in sickbay. But why didn't we keep Tendi from the other ship? No, she and Mariner Group are out on another mission, also in hiding.
And I do not expect Mahoney or Krass to be coming with us. I miss them, but they are on assignment.
Hertzman and Emoji are too young to be the ship's doctor and apprentice.
We have met them before. They have little experience, but we'll learn along the way. On screen.
Jack Crusher II here. Hello, Captain Rishenko.
Counselor Crusher, how are you even alive after the last meeting?
The mission has taken an unexpected turn, Rishenko. The Federation Academy grounds on Centauri A had an incident. I know it's close, but it's connected to some old foes.
The Centauri trainer is literally in our backyard.
And it's not an example of the 3-body problem. Proxima is in a wide orbit.
Stop that! But no, it's not. Proxima orbits quite a distance from A and B, which are normal.
Any first year knows that, Commander. He'd be cute if he was straight, but he's not. Since when are you a judge of that? Yeah, but now I kind of feel like we're replacing the other girls. It's like the voice actors playing them are us. Yeah. Yes, but I'm not my older sister. I'm nothing like her. But I can melt brains. The boys have been scared of me since I came on board.
Will Elnor and you be joining us, or the LaForge sisters?
I hope we won't be leaving the Enterprise G on this mission. We could come over.
This doesn't concern Command yet. Shouldn't we be given orders?
Yes, we could follow orders.
Hail Starfleet Command and receive instructions.
Captain Rishenko, I'm sure the Counselor has communicated. Your mission is a secret one. As you can get ahead of this, proceed to Centauri A and await instructions. This is a temporal prime directive incident related to Section 31 and the Jurati. Section 31? Top secret, and you get clearance above any agents there. Proceed at once. Sending instructions. Do account.
Set course for the Centauri trinary system and engage. Well, that certainly got complicated.
So close to home. I wonder what happened. I was born on DS9, but this is near the other home.
We get it, bruh. You're my actual brother, though. It's not a modern quip.
Engage. Captain's log. Stardate 85417.8. April 6, 2408. The Starship Esteban has been staying out of the way of history, as our crew and the others from the Sepulveda time trap incident are not supposed to interfere in the current timeline. Now we've been contacted about a temporal incident and are on the way to investigate. Our new CMO, Abby Hertzman, is barely out of medical school.
They sent someone you'd know. Starfleet didn't want to risk someone of higher rank.
Hertzman does have medical training.
Asking me would have been awkward. I'm only a nurse on the ship.
Tendi was on assignment.
Too much temporal baggage. She's too well known.
She is that.
The brief is quite bizarre, sir. An outbreak of Sakuro's disease has happened at Centauri, at the Academy campus there.
I'm not familiar with it.
It was allegedly eradicated almost a century ago. The last case was someone legendary, the first even more so.
So what do they have? Starfleet records show a councilwoman aboard the Enterprise under Kirk caught it, a Nancy Hetford, and was on her way to stop a war with 2 planets, but instead found a legendary space hero. Zephyr Cochrane, the founder of Terran Warp Drive. I was just playing some old quotes of his in my ready room. Coincidences bother me.
Then it must be a coincidence.
Lieutenant Commander, please continue. In 2267, Nancy Hetford was suffering from Sakuro's disease. She found the companion and Cochrane on an asteroid moon and merged with them. They presumably turned humanoid and died.
Sakuro's disease hasn't affected a Starfleet person since the 2290s when Sulu's wife died from it. But it says the companion gave up being an immortal cloud entity for love. Apparently. But possessing that poor woman, it just seems cringe. And then to give it up, that seems strange. You just haven't lived forever. Or been madly in love at first sight. I was madly in love at first sight. It can be annoying, but after the hurling of objects and the breaking of furniture, it can be quite rewarding. It could have mutated, or could be a different illness. They just think it is. How many experts on a century-old disease do we have?
I will look into the program of the doctors and ask them. Do it.
Here and now, we'd best stay away from whatever's on that planet.
An outbreak of Sakuro's disease nearly a century later, in an entirely different system.
I recommend we do not expose a landing team to that condition.
An away team would be foolish and dangerous at best. You've had a look at the database?
The companion didn't exactly cure her. It completely rewrote her genes into itself, effectively destroying the original, as it likely did with Cochrane, but it did this with permission.
That's messed up, Lieutenant. What does that have to do with you? Probably has nothing to do with it, unless it's Q again. That would be annoying.
It isn't his style. He prefers testing people, not infesting them with weird ailments. That is probably something the changelings would do, though. Maybe.
This is tied to Cochrane somehow, as this was the system he went to during his twilight years. Yes, I said it, but I didn't mean sparkly vampires. I meant more like old age.
Unfortunately, that word has been decimated.
Canaris is not directly a Terran constellation, but it's what the Centauri people call a 5-star nearby Canaris association, which is probably just a wrong spelling of Canis Major if it were in that direction. Which it isn't. No, it isn't. That would be too far for Cochrane to have traveled in a Warp 4 ship in the 2020s. We must find out how he got out there. Could lead to an answer here. I've already looked at anomalies and passages and wormholes, other possible transport in the area, but nothing came up.
After Voyager destroyed the Sol access to the transwarp conduit just prior to my birth 30 years ago, the temporal fabric has been changed in this area. Check to see what it was like before 2378.
We cannot even begin to do that. Why would Command order us to come out here when this isn't a temporal problem, or at least doesn't appear to be? Something they're not telling us.
Oh, I like a mystery, but not the mystery box. Those are lame. We'll know in a few minutes when we get to Centauri.
The Centauri Trinary is the closest star system to Sol, 4.2 light years, and there are inhabited Class M planets on all 3. Proxima has a Class Y planet. It orbits over 35,000 AU from the pair of stars at center, and is a Class M red dwarf under a different class. The star has 5 planets, but only the terraformed one has life. The closer A and B stars, each one between 11 AU and 35 AU, are sun-like and have planets as well. They were all discovered and settled in the 2070s after the warp flights. The Centauri natives were basically humanoids transplanted to the system by the preservers, or some other advanced race. Nearly indistinguishable from humans and probably from Earth originally. Biologically identical.
Except for a few genetic mods to allow them to survive on a slightly higher level of oxygen than Earth, and a curious extra bone in their hand, they are virtually human. In every way, nurse emoji? Some are even bigger, allegedly. It's just a rumor that needs to be investigated. This is not a pleasure cruise. Are you jealous already?
Of course not. The mission first. Open a channel to the planet on a coded channel and ask for instructions.
Captain, the Jurati Borg are here on a ship. They're hailing us.
It would appear we're facing the Borg again, but it's the renegade Jurati ones. Yellow alert. Open a channel.
Hello, Starfleet. Ah, Rozhenko, you must be Worf's son.
I'm Alexander Oshenko, son of Worf, commander of the Esteban.
I went by Agnes Girardi, and also the Borg Queen, when I merged with Warshingus.
Agnes Girardi,
Were you expecting someone else?
you were assimilated as part of a Borg incursion from another timeline. You disappeared just prior to 2401, when the original Borg showed up through a gate you were guarding.
Yes, and we've been to 2024 also. The Warshingus version comes from a Q-altered 2401, where there was a totalitarian state mocking the hyper-neocon society common in the 2020s. The Starfleet loves to mock actual political events, since the beginning. And they have no clue that Picard was making fun of them.
The haters were probably not actually watching the fleet.
My crew came here out of curiosity. That's what happened to my gate. And then it was gone. But then she came through this one.
She would seem to be the temporal issue.
No, that would be Jennifer Tiss, your version of my character. Or maybe Warshingus. They were merely princesses of Borg, not queens of Borg. I suppose I fled with my gate tech when your other Borg incursion happened. Bigger baddie. She destroyed the first gate, but remade it and went to Jupiter. And you know the rest.
Your reply is baffling. How can there even be a connection, Girardi?
I don't know. I mean, it was a universal threat. But then it was the Borg. The real Borg.
A mystery box? Again? Yeah, but your group isn't the Borg.
No, my Borg are not interested in assimilation. We like playing old music, loudly, while people speak softly in dark, poorly centered rooms, where line of sight is terrible.
I see. You stand next to someone.
May I introduce Nancy Hetford? She was formerly of the Enterprise under Captain Kirk in 2267. The companion rescued her and her new friend on a planetoid far from here. But not so far that he didn't reach it.
A mystery of lore is how Zephram Cochrane and a Warp 4 ship managed to make it all the way out to that planetoid, and it was never solved.
And no one ever bothered to ask.
Greetings, Starfleet. I am Nancy Hetford, but part of me was.
How are you still alive? Records show you perished sometime after 2267.
I've assumed this form to better communicate, as we are companions.
She's an entity, but the companion was said not to be able to leave the asteroid.
We were the offspring of Zephram Cochrane and Nancy Hetford, and were named after them. But no, we were told to stay in the companion space.
Who told you to remain there, and how did you get away?
I'd been held against my wishes, yes, but not for a serious crime. I'd been punished for a minor infraction. And now, bright young crew of the Esteban, she's come through my new gate. I didn't expect it, but she brought someone with her. I am Warshingus of Borg. We came through a transwarp conduit, like the one the Borg Queen came through 7 years ago, and displaced us in space-time to where the companion was.
Not the Borg again. The renegade Borg from Girardi. Since the Queen was hiding at Jupiter, but now she and hers are gone.
The Girardi Borg ended up light years from here, and we encountered them, and the other crew, and the other queens as well. Let's not test whoever's doing this. You know how Q aliens like nostalgia.
Oh yeah.
Nancy's not a Q. She's more related to the Calamarain. The Q like to torment.
The Q were demented. Had I known then what I do now, it would have been different.
Did you have anything to do with the incident on the planet?
We had nothing to do with the outbreak. We only found the companion humanoids on a ship nearby, and beamed them over to ours. That ship has since fled. We are a peaceful species, and do not cause outbreaks. Until a short while ago, I had never been outside companion space. Then if you didn't, who did?
We come to help, so we join you.
Not yet. I don't know if you've told us everything.
Perhaps it will convince you. Zephram Cochrane.
Another companion child clone will not convince us to join you, even if it's interesting that you manifest as solid here.
Oh, he's a legend. Well, a recreation of him, as the original obviously is long gone.
Greetings. I'm Cochrane. Or I was copied from him, and I'm now with my sister here on some kind of Star Trek.
Impossible. Zephram Cochrane, or his son somehow.
He's come very far and broken space-time to get here. Whatever he's become, he's not that anymore.
I have. The companion brought my ancestor, the original, over a century ago.
They escaped from the planetoid they were on in the hope of finding us today, right now.
It wasn't supposed to end with my ancestor's essence simply dying on that planetoid. He yearned for the times when he was that legend. I wanted to come back. Nostalgia. I am sentimental, but we were alone for so long, with only other copies for company.
It would seem that Zephyr Cochrane has become a traveler. He's now capable of transcending space-time at will.
Well, you look a lot like Worf, so I figure you're that little growly kid from the ship at his feet from that last day on the planet.
Yeah, the first contact incident in 2063. Yeah, that was probably me.
You can think of it for a bit longer, but whatever's going on there is going to get worse.
We are just one ship. We can discuss it later. Roshinko out.
I don't think they know what happened, but I don't trust them either. Not with power.
Captain's Log, Stardate 85419.1. April 8th, 2408. We have sent a specific away team to the city of New Athens, on the planet, to the Joanna McCoy Medical Facility, to meet with experts there. I have left Astor in command of the ship.
Captain, the medical center is far from the quarantine site, and we will be completely safe here.
The report was accurate, but to be on the safe side, we took precautions by using the proper antidotes and boosters just in case.
It would seem that Jack's transport has followed us here.
Hello, Alexander. Welcome to New Athens. The Centaurians let you name their city after an Earth city, and this building after McCoy's daughter. The legendary Joanna McCoy had more of an impact on the planet than her father, Leonard McCoy. Besides, I didn't name it. I wasn't born yet.
I have no idea what that has to do with this, but I was versed in the medical conditions before I came down here.
I came here on the Brad Ferguson, as the Enterprise G was not available.
I wonder where our unusual visitors are.
We have no idea what to expect here, and seeing as how Jack the Second is here, this has become complicated.
We have to stay out of the way and not change the timeline, or our future selves will cease to exist. So why are we here? Centaurus had no bearing on our missions during this year.
But it kind of does. Flodi, for instance, is one of the city-states of this planet. At least, that's what the Pine Hill children named it in 2288. Temporally, this is the same planet as Flodi. The children were just not aware of such things before being given Q powers.
The year 2408 is relatively vague about the incidents of our people.
Isn't this place on lockdown? Isn't that contagion anywhere near here? It's not on lockdown. The contagion is not in this complex. So we are safe, as are you. Let us meet with the others. Good to know. I came on the Starship Brad Ferguson, named for a writer from the 1980s, which amused me since his claim to fame was a book called Crisis on Centaurus.
It's not a good enough reason.
I know. I just thought I'd mention it. Picard boy, I still do not buy the theory of your origin any more than I bought your sisters, and the descendant Tilly, who visited us from the future. But very well. Let us meet with the experts. Oh, here comes one now. Hey there, old friends. Tabby from the Chimera A, but how?
I'm staying out of sight. Don't be concerned about that. I haven't met myself.
It's good to see you again.
It's good to be seen. I've been trying to keep a low profile, which, per my old profession, before becoming a doctor, brought back some old training.
You're a Romulan, after all.
That is accurate. I've been investigating the outbreak. They've contained it within the Academy main building, specifically the cafeteria. Someone came down with the symptoms, but thought it was the food. The one that was infected dropped dead an hour later. His partner got treatment, but she's in a coma. So is this event supposed to happen, or has the timeline already been changed? Good question. I don't know that, but we should find out, though.
That's probably why Command sent us for us to come here. The incident wasn't supposed to happen.
Jack can't know that for certain, unless he got information we weren't privy to. Our even coming down here throws off the time stream. If we so much as disturb something, we might change the immediate future, and there will be repercussions. I suggest we stay close.
We cannot predict the future based on the multiverse. It makes no sense. We'll go mad.
In an ancient Earth story, a time traveler goes to the time of the dinosaurs and accidentally steps on a butterfly, erasing the future. While in another, more modern story, a boy goes back in time to meet his mother, who falls for him. So he has to fix the timeline and changes his destiny. And still in another, a traveler prevents a plague by taking himself out. It may be none of those or some of that, or just an excuse to have a mystery.
A MacGuffin, more than a mystery box.
I believe the last few years have been more of a bootstrap paradox, where the traveler is destined to make changes, but only in the causality loop, and that loop was broken when the zombies wrecked the other timeline, and Mini Q had to interfere to close it.
But no loom this time. They didn't show up. I heard that you fought a loom. How did you do that?
I called it Lucaball, but that's not what it was. I bum rushed it, though, and that made it more like American football, or maybe wrestling.
Well, it would have been more like a Hail Mary pass with you as the ball.
But not like Project Hail Mary, which we were playing on the holodeck. That sun-eating astrophage, that macrobe microbe, it's impossible! A star is far too hot for any kind of space algae to survive, and would be fried.
Universe-eating alien seems even more impossible.
I think it was powered down somehow, and I was able to fight it. But now that I think about it, there must have been some massive intervention.
Someone was looking out for you.
That sounds incredible. I did read up on our alien counterparts from that incident, though, and they were quite powerful.
I do not like knowing that I somehow beat one of them. I've never displayed power since then, and it is baffling.
The Cillians can grant temporary powers. Could be one of them was looking out for the crew.
I suppose so.
Or it was sloppy writing. It is silly as our captain using his head as a football to smack down an alien entity.
Maybe it being silly is what confounded the alien enough to just let me go.
Give yourself a little credit, sir.
I am not that vain. I'm assuming I had help.
I am here, and I do not know who the other aliens are. They sound impressive.
The Ancestors' powers seemed limited to the asteroid-like planetoid, but when we left, we got our powers back.
He's part of me, and I am part of him. Our ancestors merged over a century ago. I have the memories of both Zephram and Nancy, and he mine.
You don't mind if I scan you? Go right on ahead.
You can be a sort of changeling, a non-corporeal hydrogen and oxygen cloud, but sentient. You cannot carry a pathogen, but can regenerate at will, and can do this with matter also.
The logs recorded that your ancestors were to perish on the planetoid together, as history had passed you by. So what happened? Well, after Kirk left us, we got to thinking, what good would it do to have us both die on some planet? We're now changed.
So we planned to make our escape from the planet, spurred on by another visitor like us.
Let me guess. Q.
I hope not, because he's annoying.
It was someone like Q, but not. As he wasn't interested in the 2260s, only the 2360s and beyond.
We remained on the planetoid and then decided to leave, and were visited by another entity that rescued us. I do not know his reason for rescuing us, or if it's part of some greater plan. We traveled the cosmos for a long time, eventually ending up here.
It was another entity that could do that.
I see. How?
We did not ask questions of the alien changeling that had a ship and took us to space to eventually meet your Jurati. Was he a deposed alien like Q? Where is he?
Yes, minute details over time tend to blur. He had the power to remove us from the planet. But it's odd he even knew where to find us.
He's probably long gone by now, whoever he was. Probably not a Q.
Well, it's not like the alien that found them as a threat anymore.
The rescue of these offspring clones doesn't change anything here.
No, the pathogen here is mutated. It would not be like Q, or the Shakari alien, to cause such a thing. We are the Jurati Borg, and we have arrived. But don't worry, Dr. Tabby. I am not your younger self. I'm more like Deborah Dulmer. Hello there, Captain Rishenko. I was indisposed earlier, but I'm here now. I only look like the Borg Castra. I don't really her. It's now that we return, in the company of time-displaced Tillians.
It seemed that we've been found by these two anomalies. These females. Have they been screened for the pathogen? It would not be good if they came in here without checking. Doctor, scan them also.
We are Jurati Borg. We will submit.
You're funny.
Their nanoprobes are protecting them from invasive viruses, but we must make sure there's nothing. This is the Joanna McCoy building. It is named for the daughter of Dr. Leonard McCoy, who lived to be over 110 and appeared once at Starfleet Academy on Earth in 2365.
She was a beloved governor of the city-state, and around 2295, they named the building after her. My father met old Dr. Leonard McCoy on the maiden flight of the Enterprise D in 2364.
He did not mention a daughter.
It doesn't matter. We are no longer the Borg, but are something more. Although it wasn't us who rescued the companions from that planet. Know that they are still changeling-like. What is left of them is only memories and old stories. We will assist you in your mission of mercy.
I have pulled up all available data on the Canaris sector from the database. Adhara was said to be a bright giant star in a binary, a bit like Rigel, and yet there are planets near it somehow. That is because it is not Adhara. That is over 405 light years from Sol, and even farther from Centaurus. When in the night skies there, it is called the Canary. It is a star system much closer. That would not explain how Cochrane got there in 2020, unless it was way closer than 400 light years. Maybe 20 light years. I scanned for anomalies, wormholes, transwarp passages, and other routes to see how he possibly could have gotten out there. Nothing yet. We could have a look. Trace the flight from his last known coordinates in the system. Or just go directly there, look for evidence. Commander Astor, come in. What have you got? We would like to investigate the home star system of the Companion. We can't leave half the bridge crew on the planet, Commander. You want to take a shuttle and go there? We'd be without our chief engineer. And it might help with the new arrivals also. Patching you into the planet's surface.
Commander O'Brien, what have you got?
We would like to investigate the Adhara system and find out what happened.
Epsilon Canaris has been a Federation protectorate for a while now, and there's nothing you can do down here. I give you permission to go check it out and return.
Lieutenant Matrix here. That would leave me in charge of engineering.
I should probably not risk my chief engineer on a mission to that star system, but I have an idea.
A runabout could get there in a day or two, sir.
We're not infected with anything down here. We're just risking changing the timeline being down here.
Stand by. We are returning to the ship. We will take a detour.
No, all right then.
Commander Astor, prepare to beam us back with the guests, and we'll have a look.
Yes, sir. We decided it was best to take us to the adjacent system of Epsilon Canaris, as in order to book safe passage to Gamma Canaris, we must enter Canaris space first, and they are twitchy about outsiders.
We have arrived in the Epsilon Canaris system, adjacent to Gamma Canaris, which is not exactly like Canis Major, as seen from Sol. It's just in that direction.
I have no idea what this is going to prove. All stop. Scan for the planetoid of the Gamma star nearby.
Planetoid region is decimated, sir.
On screen.
It could have happened a while ago.
It was kind of decimated, but not like that.
Yes, ours was intact when we left it.
You just waited to find us until now? Why? It was a coincidence. We happened to be interested in Centauri, because that's where my ancestor lived, you know. How did Cochrane travel over 400 light years in a Warp 4 ship from 2120? It would have taken him decades. It makes no sense. The system is clearly too far away, yet it meets conditions like the one that Kirk found in 2267. I do not have that information. You have his memories and his personality. It's vague after all these centuries. I've never thought about the distances in space-time, but aren't these stars light years from each other? These stars should not be in direct contact, but given trade routes and associations, they just are, sir. And also, we have traveled farther than Cochrane could have in 2120. Old warp scale, probably at warp 4. I am as confused about this as you. Captain, the Girardi party is signaling.
I detect no malice or ill will, Captain. They are as baffled as we are.
That's good. On screen.
We wish to come aboard. Swell. Someone can explain how I got here, too.
Beam them aboard and convene to the ready room as soon as we're able. See you soon.
They seem rather eager since their ship followed us here.
I wonder why they would do that. Maybe they're just lonely.
Ah, a society that cloned itself after two legendary characters. We have ourselves for company. We're not lonely. And yet you're cloud creatures and could be a millennia old. I'd like to know how that works.
We're supposed to stay out of history's way instead of helping lonely aliens.
We can't go back to Centauri and help the planet, sir.
Not yet. We would be of little help down there. We're not a medical ship, and we're supposed to be incognito. Yes, sir.
Don't worry about it. These things always work out within the span of a usual mission, for some reason.
Everyone is here, so let's begin. We must not contact the star system and change history, but we must know what happened. Dr. Cochrane, can you explain how your ancestor went to several stars that could not have been reached in that direction you left from?
I suppose so. He left toward Wolf 359 and ended up passing Vulcan, Andor, and Deneva, and then Beta Orion and Beta Rigel, and then ended up in the Canaris Association. The confusion of stellar names has no end with us. Rigel simply means part of a horse. Yes, there are many Rigels. Obviously, I could have not made it to true Rigel, which would have been 770 light-years from Sol. Pi 3 Orionis is closer.
Not to mention more habitable.
Tendi's homeworld, Orion. It's named after a Terran constellation, too.
The other Beta Orion is apparently heavily settled and has up to 5 planets that somehow support Class M atmospheres and have intelligent life. Clearly it is not true Rigel, and is somewhere else.
The system you made it out to was 400 light-years from Sol, and we still don't know how you made it out here.
He did, not me. I'm still part of it now.
I'm not deceptive, Captain. I was the human that invented warp drive, and I didn't have some magic deal with the Orions. They were on a par with us back then, a little ahead, but they had a plague that messed with them and brought their tech backward for a while.
Many of the planets and stars get names like Rigel, and he's simply one of them that he went to last. It just so happened the Orions live on another of them, if not a close one, closer than the main one.
And Captain, I assume that when they refer to Regilians, they're referring to the closer ones, by that binary, not the ones in the distant giant binary.
Captain Archer in the 2150s visited Rigel 10 in Lorilia, but in an alternate timeline. The Borg destroyed it in 2381, centuries later.
It was not the Confederation Borg timeline. It was some other timeline.
I figured. The system is intact in our time, but it is not adjacent to Orion.
It's in the Gamma Leporius system, much closer than the other Orions. Archer's crew encountered some of them on a Regilian planet that was closer is all. Cochrane could not have reached 90 light-years at warp 4, old scale. No, and then some, as he would be leaving Leporis in the other direction, enter the Beta Quadrant, and travel an additional 100 light-years to even reach it.
He would have entered Klingon space, too.
I will continue to investigate this. You think we need Tendi's help just yet? I'd like to think we can handle this so far.
We are no closer to finding out what happened here. It's like we're being distracted. Cochrane, how did your ancestor get out here?
He must have, as most of the old Enterprise missions seemed to be centered on the sun, and half the stars had names stolen from old solar constellations like Rigel, Deneb, Orion, and Centaurus. The aliens never called themselves that. I have more data, sir.
Does it check out? Instant matrix.
Yes, it does, except for how we got out here. Every other star system is within that sphere of 100 light-years, and could be reached in 2120. Except for this one.
And true Rigel, much too far out.
Do the Orions have a record of their visit within their memory bank? Find out. Send to Tendi's ship in a coded channel.
How come in this universe, subspace and space allow for instant contact and two-way communication with other ships and planets and other far-off star systems?
Just get with it. Put her on screen.
Captain Rashenko, I thought we were going by the Temporal Prime Directive and lay low.
We still are. I have an odd request.
Zephram Cochrane died years ago. But you want to know if he visited Orion on his last voyage? Oh, he did. He got very drunk. And then he claimed to have teleported to a whole other solar system after getting the munchies, and was found at Starbase 10 gorging himself on huckleberry pancakes. The authorities on Beta found him there.
Teleported. Used a transporter. Except they didn't exist yet. He had future tech?
No, he was just drunk. Blackout drunk. How he got to warp, I don't know.
He was like, well, I've been sober for decades, and decided to drink to it. And then was like, damn it. The next thing he remembered, he's teleported to a whole other star system.
He reminds me of a politician from 2026. His flight path was for Lorilia, but he never made it there. He went in the other direction, and ended up in the outskirts of Orion space, 50 light-years from where he was the night before.
That's impossible in a ship from 2120. It's a ship in an impound somewhere, after all these years. I'm already looking into that.
He took the ship he came in on apart and built a shelter out of it. The rest broke down over time.
Clearly, you got a different ship to get out there.
Going looking for a centuries-old ship at Orion would be folly, as the ship that he came in on was the wreckage found on the asteroid planet.
You want me to scan for an Earth ship in the debris field, sir?
But he left the Earth ship on Orion, apparently. Not the ship, but the new ship he borrowed for the trip. Scan for metals that are rare to the system. Metals that are only found on Lorelia, his last location. He could have sailed on a Warp 5 ship and made the trip in that time frame. Long-range scans. Lorelian physiology is unusual for local class M planet humanoids. Thus, a chemical they breathe would remain stuck in anything airtight out there. I found something. We should go to the bridge to monitor closer, but it looks like a large cargo pod. Let's go find it. The sooner we get this worked out, the sooner we can return to Centaurus and stop the outbreak. Status report.
An Epsilon Canary vessel is approaching, sir. We're in their system, spying on the other one nearby.
Isn't spying when everyone seems to know where we are? Open a channel. Yes, sir. What do you know about our trade route since the time of the incident with Kyle Riker over 50 years ago? What do you want? I am Captain Rashenko of the Starship Esteban. We're not aware of Kyle Riker's mission. We're looking for something much older. A vessel Zephram Cochrane came here on in 2120. Ridiculous. Such a ship has lost to time. Long-range sensors indicate otherwise. We would like to enter the Gamma Canaris system, which you captured in the 2380s, and investigate. Then we'll leave. But I'm merely a space captain. I didn't capture it, but very well. You may enter the system. I have no control over it. Excellent. Don't come looking for me again.
He's left the screen. Charming fellow. I wonder what he's hiding.
I wouldn't worry. His ship is no match for us. The alien ship is going to warp. He might bring back friends.
I suggest we keep a close eye on our guests. No telling what they really want.
Someone should go see what they're up to. I didn't assign them quarters. The Borg ladies are probably going to follow us in their ship. Should we tell them about our plans, sir? Yes, but only tell them where we're going and if they want to come along.
If the companions are like changelings, they could transform into energy clouds and disrupt the ship. They haven't so far, because we're playing along.
Yes, Lieutenant. Our contact can meet at the Gamma Canaris system.
Yes, she's on the way. I just wonder who's pulling the strings on this mission, as it seems this is some sort of scavenger hunt. We have arrived at the Gamma Canaris system. Scans indicate what we thought. The remains of the planetoid are ahead. The locals still have not detected us.
And the Girardi Borg ship. She just dropped out of warp near us. Scans indicate the wreckage of a vessel adrift near the dwarf planet, and also there is a similar signature on the surface. It is not destroyed. Sensor errors. More like interference. The asteroids are giving off high levels of ionized hydrogen and other gases. The companion race is not as dead as we were led to believe.
That's because we were fruitful and multiplied.
The infusion of the elements from the other system helped regenerate the others. More or less. The longer we go around planet hopping, the more people will fall ill from the mutated pathogen. Tell us what you know.
After James Kirk left, he'd given us the idea to rejuvenate. The companions are native to the system. We thought we couldn't leave.
Kirk couldn't keep us a secret. The connection, where there shouldn't be one.
We are part of them, and they are part of us. Like their offspring, but not as powerful.
Kiriyoshi, scan for the remnant of that container ship we detected light years away. It must be radiating immensely. This is how it looked 4 years ago. The signal had spread.
How is this connected to the contagion? Nancy Hetford contracted it. Now it's part of us as well. It's become like a dormant set of genes. We can find it each time it comes back. That thing is behaving more like a biological weapon than a disease.
I do not think our guests are telling us everything.
I'm not going to probe their minds and find out.
You do not have to.
We said too much already. You could confine us to quarters, but we're shapeshifters. It won't work.
I will not do that.
The Orion ship has arrived, sir. Devon Attendee, it's good to see you again. Did you grow? Only in some places I shouldn't. The full report is in. Let's have a look at it. It certainly isn't peer-reviewed. Attendee's back as I live and breathe. Young Hertzman is too inexperienced, but we can learn as we go, just like Tabby taught me. You'll do fine. Well, let's just get out. So yeah, I found something. I might know you would, but it feels like two cooks in the same kitchen. 3. The Laurelians are born breathing an odd mixture of an alcohol and an oxygen compound called methyl oxide. At the age of 4, according to their stellar rotation period, they are weaned off of it onto oxygen and nitrogen, suggesting an earlier biology. Aliens should not all breathe our air, but somehow a lot of us do.
So what is it?
Companions are essentially living ionized hydrogen beings, with a lattice of matter energy compensate that makes up their ability to transform or mutate into humanoid form. The ship fragment we found was loaded with residue from methyl oxide and with companion traces, not just hydrogen oxide. She was with him from Laurelian space onward. That explains who he was with, but not the warp drive. They're on a par with the precursor to the Federation at the time. The United Space Probe Agency. They were still using it to be stubborn, even in the 2260s. Nancy Hepford contracted the Sicaro strain from the negotiations on the planet neighboring this one in 2267. But the natives never reported an outbreak, as though they were aware or immune to it. And the version on the Centauri planet is mutated, so the treatments weren't working, like it was a modern version. You can guess what acts as a volatile agent then. The companions are not what they seem, yes, but what is it? Maybe the methyl oxide stopped the initial infection in 2267. I don't know how. Smart kid, which means we have a possible antidote.
There's something more, isn't there?
You ever wonder why there's so many cloud creatures encountered by the Enterprise under Captain Kirk? There were not that many. They were just memorable. But no, I did not. Well, this one was especially curious, because of Cochrane, and Kirk finding him. Suppose she meant for him to come out here. But he was an old man. She must have had a fetish. Not everything is a fetish, but in her case it probably is. As an Orion, I would know of such things. Still, I've abstained for years. That isn't healthy for an Orion your age. We can discuss that later. Well, the companion offspring we met out there are little more than clones, and each is a slightly less effective clone than the last, with errors. Were they just lonely and made a bunch of others for company? That would seem to be the hypothesis. We would need samples of other companions to test it. You're saying every one of them is Nancy and Zephram over and over again? I'd bet Latinum on it.
The ship is from Epsilon Canaris.
The alien captain again. We didn't even get his name.
I wonder what prompted him to come out here after us. He's not an official, and we couldn't find his ship in the database.
Hail the ship, Paris.
Ah, Starfleet ship. Excellent. I found you. I have it on good authority that you're looking for the makers of the companions.
You know of them. Who are you?
My name is not important, but if you must know, it's Alexander Tremeltain III. We share a common name, Captain Roshenko. None more.
That name sounds familiar. What can we do for you, and at what price?
I do not ask for a compensation, sir. The data you seek is in the Memory Prime database.
You're tracking us all this time. What is the information?
The great-grandfather was a negotiator on the wars sent by Starfleet to make peace. I worked until the civil uprisings in the 2370s. The reappearance of the terror group, the League for a Pure Humanity, cheated out of their mission a century before. They were here to attract attention, but no one came.
The League was acting on erroneous information. It had been even a century. They were misguided.
The connection is that the Farragut went to our planet also, during the wars, and James Kirk was a young ensign on the ship.
James Kirk visited your planet in the 2250s, and then came back here as a captain in the 2260s, but went to the other nearby star system, the one we just visited.
The remains of that cult had reports of trying to use a mini-singularity on Kirk's ship, and to plant an antimatter explosive on Centaurus. But someone stopped it from happening. They based their ideas on a fictional story written on Earth long ago to create their own reality.
They intended to invent a history where they were more well-known. That's insane.
The Hollow novel? They were that dense? Joanna McCoy was a central character, but how does that relate to anything?
I don't have the information, but what I do have is evidence of panspermia over light years. The companions you have befriended here have been a nuisance for millennia around here, and that is why we kept them in that other system. I was not there, obviously, but my people were.
The companions were a previous race native to this area of space, and the ancestors found a way to trap them somehow. They might have been used for some darker purpose in antiquity, but young Kirk and older Kirk being here is of little connection. You're distracting us, but why?
I was paid in full to come out here, and now I will go. You have your information. I can send it over.
Make it so. Roshenko out. But activate all firewalls so he doesn't send us a virus into the computer.
The alien information packet did attempt to plant a mini-singularity, but our temporal shields blocked it. The damage was minimal. No critical systems hit. Repairs are underway. The device was also able to transmit to the database some odd facts, but mostly guesses. In literature, a fact is an established opinion. But in science, a testable hypothesis leads to a theory and then can lead to a fact. But what do we have? This is, after all, science fiction. Yes, more rambling on about energy beings. You spent literally an hour ranting on about energy plagues and beings earlier. Please don't get him started. Yes, we could one day become non-corporeal energy aliens, but first we'd have to figure out how it could be done. You really do need to get out. These companions were once a migration of plasmoid aliens, crossing interstellar distances to reach the star system, without apparent warp drive. If they can convert matter to energy and back at will, perhaps they can breach warp also, by subverting the fabric of space through subspace also. Mini-singularity tech. The alien tried to use a device, thought fictional a century or more ago, not to destroy us, but give us a clue. Maybe he knew our shields would hold, and in that singularity was a packet of further information. They could store an unlimited amount of information in such a device, but risk destroying a ship to do it. You found the data. Can it be read directly? It appears there is a connection between the fictional worlds of holonovels and shows and ours. Yes, I believe if I adjust the quantum singularity's frequency, as we caught it in time, the containment will hold. Scanning for life signs. Scanning for data. While that's going on, I was looking into the other holonovel, the Centaurus one. The novels are not canon, but Sicilians they are. For instance, there was a Barclay in the story. Could be just Reg Barclay messing with a holodeck again, like he did when he was found out by Riker in Troy, who played Archer's last adventure, and made it so Trip died and all that. What? Now who's the one rambling, sir? I was just watching Archer's 2161 speech that never played on the holodeck version of the story. That's the kind of silliness that's going on here. Someone's using a holonovel. It does seem like something Q would do, but he hasn't appeared, so maybe not. But that could be another bad lead, sir. The Trek novels are not canon, not directly. But Sicilians they sometimes are. The attack in that novel never happened in this timeline. But since we seem to create this reality, it's possible somewhere else. Try to find something, and then meet me in the briefing room, when the doctors have come up with a new hypothesis also. Yes, the longer we remain distracted, the more this seems like padding. It's more of a chase than a slow burn mission. Continue your research. Find out what's inside the packet. Continue with your research and find out what's inside the packet. The packet contains several languages of alien text. Decoding and running universal translation will take time. I hope that more people have not come down with the space ailment, but we cannot interfere with that now. Might as well look this up.
Captain's Log, Supplemental. After some hours, we have examined the data given to us by several sources on the subject of the companions and their connection to the other stars. It would seem there are other creatures responsible for paying off their benefactors and their enemies. Have you found something?
Oh, we have. Remember the war the Canarians were fighting? It ended badly. Sure, the civil wars were ended in the 2360s, a century following Kirk, but by then the damage was done.
The system was still known in the 2360s. It wasn't destroyed. Earlier scans from light years off indicated destruction on a larger scale than what we were finding here in this system.
Let me guess, it changed while we were on the way, to make us feel more at home.
The whole solar system knew we were coming? That's incredible.
That's not all. We traced back the genetic bottleneck that nearly wiped out the first companions to this star system, but not the asteroid.
A missing planet.
Yes, possibly their homeworld. The aggressive group, which we have not found yet, blew up the planet and scattered the companions across the solar system.
Not Redjack, or other similar entities. Maybe the Dickeroniums.
The Dickeronium vampire clouds are similar, but have FTL powers, and have been seen in the century and more following Kirk's encounter at Tycho. But there's no way to know where they are.
It was only a thought. If the Dickeronium clouds were present, it might explain the confusion for the other creatures.
Impossible to know from here, They're probably long gone, but these companions appear to have originated as sentient bioweapons.
It could rejuvenate a biological life form also, or merge with it.
If a sufficiently advanced alien race could create a matter-energy creature and instill in it the power to transform matter like a transporter, the thing could literally kill repeatedly and just regenerate the victims.
It might not have even started out as a weapon. Suppose these advanced aliens were just too beyond physical form. It was like a game to them. Like when Nagilum tried to kill members of the Enterprise D crew in 2365.
Right, let's try to stick to the topic at hand, no matter how eager you are to derail it, because it's in your nature.
I am not sure how it happened exactly, as I'm one of the first clones of the creations, but we could have been a bioweapon. It's too long ago to remember.
So you were something left over from a war long before humanoids were on the Canary planets. Maybe they're self-aware weapons, but had a moral change. I do not know.
Then they decided not to fight. Maybe they declared it so. No one can know now. The byproduct of some of their outgassing happens to be the methyl oxide compound, as they turn matter into energy, and other chemicals are released.
Are you saying the Laurelians are somehow connected to this? But they're in another part of space.
Oh, there is one. Terraforming advanced aliens made a lot of air breathers. I think it more likely the air breathers conquered this area, seeding the galaxy with similar primates. Us. They might have destroyed their old society. Maybe the Laurelians were an example of a group left behind that didn't want to integrate.
We cannot know that, nor do we know if the Centauri incident is related.
I haven't yet found a connection, just the reason for the companions might be related.
How might it be related?
Centaurus encountered an unnatural incident in 2269, only 2 years after the events while discovering Cochrane. Kirk promised Cochrane not to mention the companion in his logs, but since we're here, he did.
In a holonovel, the League for a Pure Humanity activated an antimatter device at New Athens. In our timeline, however, Joanna McCoy found a way to stop it.
Then you imply other timelines were different. It would only work if the holonovels somehow were kept by powerful Q-like entities to confuse and annoy us.
I would guess they are.
I will say their pathetic name and why they failed. The League for Pure Humanity didn't exist here, thanks to Cillians. Maybe one Cillian, maybe more, but there are traces of their improbable abilities, which are linked to Q. But it's not him, sir.
Cillians. How is that possible? Cillians did not make first contact until that time in 2288, or our time 2364. Temporal variants exist, yes, but there's no direct record of Cillians at New Athens in 2269.
Joanna McCoy.
A Cillian before the children of the Pine Hill?
It could be possible, sir. She was meant to be on the Severin space hippie ship the Enterprise met also, but then she just wasn't, and some other lady replaced her.
I suspect there are several Cillians throughout history that are travelers, maybe like we are.
Jurati and Warshingus are here only because they have a connection to Earth of 2024, and alternate timelines, and could have met other Cillians besides the Pine Hill children, who are now adults.
I'm a part of her and she of me, which sounds strange, but there was an assimilation in an altered 2024. Anyway, were I to comment directly on the Cillians, it makes no sense how self-important they are. It would be a stroke of arrogance to think that the Pine Hill children were the only Cillians. It had to start somewhere long before them. And like a few of the legendary ones, I was reborn a Cillian after my counterpart died.
We encountered Thaddeus Riker in a similar context years ago. It turns out he was also a second person fused with him, Jay Birdman. That has no relevance here.
Does it have to be just Cillians again? Besides, Joanna McCoy died years ago. She was not regenerated.
Is it much like the matter-energy clouds? If it is, then it's a kindred force, acting here, and possibly on Centaurus.
The viral is not a sentient life form like the cloud creatures, or the solid-looking children that joined us. Not necessarily malevolent, just with a different set of morals. Maybe it even thinks it's acting on programming.
Suppose the wars in the Canary system are just an extension of a much earlier one, before the settlers were even there, and the leftover aliens are driving them to war, influencing them.
It could have been going on for a very long time. The records had some examples of aliens that had manipulated wars, including energy cloud entities of various types.
You are suggesting the Epsilon Canary Wars are being spurred on by energy beings, possibly even companion ones. How can we know that?
I would be willing to go have a look there, if you like, sir.
I am not convinced the alien entities need to be behind the war. This is a distraction.
Now, why would we keep you from your mission when we came to you in the first place?
You have already been keeping us from the mission, as we are here, not at Centaurus.
I suspect you are quite by the book, Captain.
This system does hold some interesting life forms, but they will be fine without us for a while.
There are copies of the original companion. They'll be fine here.
I've decided that we will return to Centaurus by way of following Cochrane's path back home, and we will go to Lorelia. We will continue to find a cure for the ailment, as I suspect it was not natural, and spatial aliens' influence is present. Dismissed.
We have arrived in the Lorelia system.
Assume orbital approach.
The Girati ship and Tendi ship are here also. How did Archer's Enterprise get way out here on their first mission in 2151?
That was equally far off Rigel 10. They're not related. They just met a Lorelian family, apparently. It was a different planet.
Yet they have a gas that is like what companions exhale. Coincidence?
No, it was just an origin point. They're the only alien species that breathes that stuff.
The companions might have originated on Lorelia.
I do not see how yet. Send in the guests.
Are you sure we originated from this planet?
It would explain the connection, but it doesn't explain how my ancestor got way out here to where we were so long ago. Your ancestor must have taken a new ship from Lorelia with a Warp 5 engine. Tendy's looking that up, but it's unlikely the Orions kept such records.
Yes, it makes more sense to consider the guests children of Zephram and Nancy, and not them.
I'm okay with naming convention.
It would seem we are descended from the originals.
Maybe, but it's still a hypothesis. Those wars were going on for some time, and could have been influenced by eons of legends of other wars. The only connection here is that there was a weapon, even though in the holonovel, the weapon was not a biological one.
I do not think there's a connection with the novels you're on about Astor.
So far, nobody's come to greet us. Expecting them to, Miral? They don't know we're coming, and we shouldn't appear here. The temporal accord could be already broken, sir.
I'm well aware of that, O'Brien.
The mission might not be related to the holonovel at all. It's just an interesting comparison to the events that happened on other missions. I cannot say because I don't know. I'm remembering more as we move farther out from the planetoids, which is odd. We have no way of knowing if we came from here or not, or how we used hyperdrive to even get here, back then, so long ago.
Assuming that the book-selling creators of Star Trek somehow create their own timeline variants each time, there could be many variations, especially ones involving superweapons. I find the use of superweapons to be boring. Too many versions of the Star Trek universe use them as a plot device.
Khan had his Genesis device and used it for bad, but Nick Locarno also had a Genesis device and used it for good.
The sensors do not detect any warring factions here now.
The Lorelians are not at war.
Someone had to sell the League a weapon in that story, right? This is a different solar system entirely. Why bring us out here if not to just keep us from returning to Centaurus?
Maybe this League planned to return and attack.
No, they're all disbanded, or in this timeline never did anything to the Centaurus system.
What was the weapon in the story?
An antimatter bomb, which is kind of stupid, even then.
Perhaps the author of Crisis on Centaurus, the holonovel, was a Cillian. After all, there's a ship named after him.
No, an antimatter bomb would be powerful, and would destroy what it touched completely.
Joanna McCoy is not going to make an appearance, so why are we going in circles here? True. Joanna McCoy is not relevant to this. The whole thing seems to hinge on her during a different account of her tenure on Centaurus. Suppose the companions are an ironic name.
Well, it is a silly name. My ancestor began calling it that. The species was not called the companion.
Makes it sound like they were just advanced Siri or Alexa devices from the 2020s.
The League for a Pure Humanity sounds like the Terra Firma group a century before it, but is of no relation. Nor is the Confederation state encountered by Picard and crew a few years ago.
I don't think we need to further reference that holonovel. It's confusing.
But we cannot remain on this chase. I must return to the Centaurus system soon, as I think this might be a distraction, as we go deeper into this.
Ah, yes, Crisis on Centaurus was very topical for the 80s novel, of which the holonovel was based on the story from 1986 by Brad Ferguson, predating the Pine Hill incident by a few years. The book doesn't really weigh in here, unless some omnipotent entity is using it to further distract us.
A terror group that reappeared is troubling, but they left. We are following where Cochrane went, but do not need to visit Andor, Deneva, or Vulcan. Indeed, only the last couple of planets he visited. A vessel from the planet is hailing.
On screen.
He arrived at the Orion planets, and then this one, not one of those planets, and he got a special ship so he could get there.
Do you know what ship it was?
Yes, and the ship that was there is consistent with the timeline, as Kirk found the remains of a ship, but never thought to confirm if it was a Terran ship.
Spock scanned the debris. It was only presumed to be an Earth ship.
Lorilians probably have little to do with this.
That's right. They only gave him a ship.
I would like to know how this methyl oxide, as you call it, somehow cured the human. It doesn't. It just acts as a volatile. I don't know why anybody would want to breathe it.
I don't think the outgassing cures the virus. It destroys the matter around it, forcing transformation into energy, and then matter again.
Nancy died, just as Zephram died, but the creature remade them. They're essentially cloned offspring.
I don't know if that quite works.
No way could humans breathe methyl oxide. The aliens are engineered to adapt to oxygen after a point in their childhood. Why?
Maybe the planet they migrated to had more of that in the atmosphere, so they were engineered that way.
It doesn't seem natural to them. But then again, all those aliens that do breathe the same air are even more uncanny. The timeline we're trying to work out is that Lorilian natives breathe air different than ours, but then an advanced race terraformed the planet, and they had to adapt or die, but in time they survived. Let's just say the companions, for clarity's sake, were one of those races. And they found a way to go faster than light and go to other star systems. A vessel from the planet is hailing.
On screen.
I am called Blunswick, of the Starship Stralo. What are you doing here, Starfleet?
I am Captain Rashenko of the Starship Esteban. We were looking for information on a very old ship that left here centuries ago. I realize it's extremely unlikely it's something you would know.
I have it on word from the last captain out here. You wanted data on the old story. I have such data. It happened in about 2119 your time. The ship that sped off after nearly running into 5 other ships. We couldn't forget. And the warp blast nearly destroyed our outpost.
I do not remember it at all. I was as blacked out as though I visited Rigel 7, where they make you forget everything. Did I do that too? Sorry.
You cannot be him. You'd be centuries old.
I'm sort of his descendant. I have his memories and personality.
I'm Nancy's descendant, too. We're companion offspring of him, of a sort.
We're not connected to the companions, and don't remember.
Your apprehension suggests you do. What do you know about them?
You harbor 2 of them on your ship. I do not know how many more. They were exiled from a very old incident, which has since become legend, spoken in taverns and dark rooms. Should we return to Epsilon Canaris? The early explorers tried to confuse this with Canis Major, which makes little sense, but it stuck.
We already know a lot about the mini-singularity device and about the disbanded terror group. We know it was related to Epsilon Canari.
It stole or bought advanced tech from them.
Tell me what you're hiding, sir. I suspect the League is not completely gone, and still exists out here.
All I know of them is legend. Centuries ago, they were uncovered in the Gamma Canary system by a survey team. They were lonely and desperate creatures, feeding off members of a starship crew. It was left derelict and destroyed.
How long ago was that?
About 150 years. They aren't as they appear, Captain Rashenko. Dicheronium creatures. They're nasty. You might not want them roaming free on your bridge. The Dicheronium cloud was encountered by the Farragut, and later the Enterprise. It's a different cloud creature. It was malevolent and fed on red blood, and could make antimatter explosions and space-time distortion.
I assure you, Captain, we are not those devils.
No, they're the bioweapons, not us. We were the defensive reply. I'm not sure how I know that.
Yes, defensive only. Bloodsuckers, like Regulon bloodworms, like the kind that infected those Gorn that one time. Only these are energy beams.
The Tycho creature Kirk fought was destroyed in the 2260s, but there could be more of them.
The creatures mess with you. They don't just transform ships, they transform minds.
In only 150 years, I suspect this is based on another legend and mistaken identity. Thanks for cooperating. Alexander out.
He is gone. Humans naming other people's planets and stars after their own stars is baffling to me. But there is evidence everywhere, from Rigel to Orion to Vulcan and more.
Centaurus the man-horse is not very subtle.
The companions appear to not be what they seem. But they aren't the other aliens you mentioned, these dicaronium life forms. The aliens thought they were the same, though.
The records of the creature he mentioned showed a clearly dangerous life form that fed on blood cells. They clearly had some engineered reason for doing that. Much older than the alien thinks, I'd bet. I'll investigate it.
We should find out all we know about these cloud creatures. Clearly the current companions can keep humanoid form for a long time. The others could not. The vampire-like cloud could already have hungered and broken his disguise long ago. If only we could sense Nancy and Zephram's motivation. I cannot ask my officers to risk themselves on a mind meld.
I can do it, sir. No need for a mind meld. She has abilities, sir. I volunteer with your permission.
The Esteban can continue the chase. I must return to Centaurus. Begin the probe.
If he tries to mess with your head, break contact immediately.
We don't have the Carno would do it to come help us.
I'm ready. I don't even need to touch him. I will allow her to probe my thoughts.
But only a little bit.
I sense no malice from the two. They're companions and something more, with human emotions imprinted on them. They aren't the malevolent ones. Stop the link. Stop the link.
We return to Centaurus, best possible speed. The aliens saw the tricksters recently. I suspect we will find we've been distracted from a different sort, from saving the planet. Set course to return at once.
If the Dicaronium creature somehow returned, it'd be bad. But not like when Palpatine returned. They obviously made that up at the last minute. Ugh.
What? Wrong show. Get us back to Centaurus. I've asked security to keep an eye on all our guests. How soon till we arrive?
2 hours. No sign of the dangerous alien clouds on sensors. They're all changelings. They could have become anything.
The Larillian was worried about a current return of the other aliens. And the dangerous ones use antimatter. I realize it's a stretch, but suppose that's connection.
Companions using darker things for transport.
The ship? Which makes it possible the current companions are using their ships for transport. Then the malevolent ones we assumed were the other ones.
The alien captain was afraid we'd alert the mean ones.
I assume Kirk defeated the last one, but suppose he did not. If their ships could still retain part of their sentience, they could manipulate even their cousins.
I do not detect any psionic waves from Zephram or Nancy, and they agreed to testing. They seem to be clones of the originals, as we suspected, but are 2 generations removed from them. As for the malevolent ones destroying blood, like Sakaro's disease, oh boy.
You found something.
I did. I found that Kirk and Sulu were both exposed, but somehow had resistance to it. Most of the crew did, just not Hedford and not Sulu's wife. Separated by years, and it's still manifested. The Dicaronium creature, from what scans indicate in the database, are indeed cousins of the companions. I speculate on it also, sir. It would seem that cloud vampire creatures were a bioweapon, and could transform into things, even the primary parts of a ship. Their taste for specifically red blood iron, and the virus being in the same, is no coincidence. It appears Sakaro was the first to catch it, but it was a weapon.
A weapon can be disarmed. That's our hope.
Bridge to the captain. We're about to approach Rigel Centaurus.
Very well, Ensign Hicks. We'll be there in a little bit.
Let's find the cure and head back to the planet. We still have not found it. We only found that we cannot use the companions to just destroy them and reformat them into one of them.
No, that wouldn't help. Could we use a transporter to simply restore them? I don't think that would work, unless old copies remained in pattern buffers.
So even if they knew what it is, maybe it doesn't work.
It's not an invasion force, not even a legion. Possibly even one being. Not Q. We should continue to the planet.
The Larillians really weren't much help.
I did not expect them to be.
And the companions and the Borg ladies, they're not doing it either, because that'd be too obvious.
They're clearly a red herring. It has nothing to do with a malevolent alien testing us.
They're just going through the motions of the story with you. The Cochrane and the Hetford aliens aren't really them, but copies of copies. Offspring, if you will. And they're the most properly copied, earliest versions. Do you know if there are more?
They're not really following their more dangerous cousins.
They're just copies. They're memories and personalities. They're using the raw materials from the asteroid belt. The cloning is not perfect, and each time they do it, using materials from around them, it makes errors.
The other companions didn't follow us here. We will continue to keep watch over our guests as we approach the planet.
Figuring out isn't getting us far. We lack evidence, but without Vulcans on the ship, we can't deduce it logically. We do have a cousin of a Vulcan. I could attempt to fake being logical, if it helps.
We will return to Centaurus.
Your people could be returned to the system when this is over, unless you wish to go somewhere else.
We can't go back, as we just left from there. Not back to the Gamma Canary system.
They don't want to go back.
I will contact the planetary leaders and discuss the situation with them when we arrive. Even though it had breached the temporal directive, we have to get some answers. It would not work being an endless chase.
You're not going to just meet the leaders of the planet just because you're a Starfleet ship that showed up. The Gerati does not wish to meet the leaders of the planet. You're yet another example of bringing back a character who died in real life to be in a fan film. I brought you some relics from the mission that we were able to find while you were discussing the other mission. Have fun looking at them.
What is this stuff? Most of field science is finding ruins and digging through old stuff.
Suppose having brought back Warshingus from the beyond has somehow infected the time stream, and that's what's doing it.
How could you have done that? Cillian powers.
How did Nancy Hedford become infected all those years ago? She contracted it on the Epsilon Canary homeworld.
She contracted it on the Epsilon Canary homeworld. She contracted it on the Epsilon Canary homeworld.
My late uncle was a Rishenko, who during the Enterprise D mission force relocated some aliens to another planet, much to the annoyance of Picard. He put them on the holodeck. They were then transported to another planet. Suppose something similar happened with the companions eons ago.
I can give more data on the Sakuru's ailment.
Very well.
The contagion continued and infected Sulu's wife, and she died. But I didn't know Sulu had a wife. But note that originally this incident was in a holonovel and became canon. He also had a husband, which was also made canon, too. Oh my.
He couldn't reproduce without having a surrogate mother. Not even in 2270. He had to have mated with a woman. Mated. You make it sound so clinical. I was trying to be more logical. Did it work?
No, it didn't. Demora Sulu mentioned it in the 2300s. That's his daughter. It's in the records. Not sure when she said it happened. Rozhenko's uncle's wife bears a striking resemblance to Cassidy Gates. Maybe she's a traveler. You know, like Jake and her son. No, Jake Sisko and his little brother are not involved in this.
It would seem the mutations are due to an infusion of genes from Tycho 4, which is weird. Isn't that the planet where the cloud creature was killed?
Suppose it only dissipated in the explosion.
We must know if there are more Dicaronian creatures. Scan for their energy signatures. They might be here to feed on humans.
Somehow the Sakaros disease is intermittent and only appears every so often. Sulu's wife, tell me about that. Was it the Excelsior that visited the planet in the 2300s?
Yes, it was, but she contracted it on a different ship before the 2300s.
Or she went to the planet, maybe not the ship.
Yeah, they found that out the last time it happened.
So I will go back to Centaurus with this information. It doesn't quite work at first, and seems to mutate, and seems to act like it's sentient itself. Suppose the pathogen and the bioweapons were related, and were dormant until deliberately released, when these people encountered them. It's probably no coincidence the pathogen and the cloud vampires feed on the same type of blood. Sabotage of the meetings. I'm only making the connection because the companion immediately knew what it was, and cured it. Well, erased it.
The coincidences do add up to an odd conspiracy, but it cannot be proven without tests.
Let's say the companions were meant to treat something. Not as weapons, but like medical devices.
I think that became their later function, as the one Kirk met was imprisoned on the asteroid.
They decided to stop being a weapon and chose to be a healer. She completely transformed him, so he was effectively dead, and just reformatted into another being.
The actual homeworld of the companions might have a common origin to the other aliens, if only we could find it. They aren't malevolent. We can go find their makers, I suppose.
We would have to find the lab from which the companions were made, and that's extremely unlikely to exist anymore. They also have an affinity for humans, so that gives us a remote possibility the lab does exist. I think the bioweapon idea might be premature, and more like some unsavory scientists messed with what was left of the Tycho creature Kirk fought. The virus acts like some old earth cancers of the blood. Even if it makes no sense, it would work on a human. Works on some humans, like leukemia, for instance. That's probably what they meant to test for, but they didn't say that because they didn't know.
Tendi and the others have found some more data. Tabby should also know a lot about strange medical devices, alien doctors, and all that.
The Orions are amused by humans calling everything around us Orion or Rigel, after parts of their constellations. Molly and I get to do something.
For convenience, Molly is a lieutenant, even though, as a non-com rank, she would be chief. Just don't want to go by Chief. None of this should really be linked to that holonovel by Brad Ferguson.
We could summon the Koinonia for help.
The Koinonia is on a mission and cannot help us. We're on our own.
When we came out here, we were following a lead that the time stream had been changed and the Centaurus outbreak shouldn't have happened.
I think we're supposed to go back there, and that's the mission.
We will return to the planet and update the medical staff. Signal the facility when we arrive.
Yes, sir.
It was sort of like a forgotten premise in a story, like when the real Borg erased the universal threat by arriving in 2401 and displacing us in the corridor. We came back.
Darn it, with those mystery boxes and red herrings.
The Borg Queen was defeated years ago, but to you it was fresh like yesterday. Some of the companion life forms have followed us back to Centaurus, or at least that's what the scans indicate.
Now, how did they get to warp? The same way the companions we have did? I just said I don't know.
The offspring didn't need to stay put. They always could have left.
After all this time, the companions were no longer bound by the place that kept their parents.
Well, they're the descendants.
The ship that Cochrane came to find the companion on wasn't just a ship. It was a transformer.
Oh, God.
Oh no, I don't think those ships are companions.
Yellow alert. Everyone return to the bridge. Status report.
The cloud ship fleet is comprised of 13 individual less-than-solid objects, all of them partly metallic, with warp drive energies exceeding ours, sir.
Where did they come from? Let me guess. The Tycho system.
Impossible to say, but in that general direction.
It appears that we have found the remaining Dichoronium life forms. Red alert. Shields up.
We can't possibly fight them, sir.
They may have not spotted us yet. We're not much of a threat to them, if that is them. Their sentience was thought to be more predatory than other cloud creatures, but the one remembered Kirk, and no, Tycho is just where they fought, not where it originated.
Oh, crap. Hey, those guys look familiar.
They've come for us, so we figured out their ships, and we stole one of them.
We thought they were extinct. Should we attempt to communicate?
I still think the directive applies, and we should not give away our position.
What are you going to do, Captain?
Miral, activate our special device.
With pleasure, sir.
Helmsman and navigator, as soon as it's on, make a break for the planet's surface.
Yes, sir.
I sense a hostile presence out there. They're not friendly. Their minds are chaotic, almost like the loon we met before.
Engage the cloaking device. Head full speed.
This won't be a bad little trick.
Still not out of the woods yet. Take us to the medical base. The ship can still meet with the others on the planet. Are you mad, Rashenko? You brought a whole ship down here. I'm merely frustrated. Where are the rest? The cases of the disease have increased to 20, all of them in quarantine, and remains contained to the other building. Someone here caught it too. Yes, they are locked away also. We have clues as to what happened, but we're not able to come up with a cure. What? You were gone for days. How about the companions you meant?
Their version of the cure is destructive and would decimate the patients, so we can't use it.
The alien ships that just arrived have not made any demands. You say there's a connection in your report. By the time of the 2360s, they began calling them Dichoronium cloud creatures. But their name is unknown. The connection appears to be how they feed on red blood. They like it. The disease also feeds on red blood. Vampire aliens spread the disease? Are you sure?
They're not vampires. They just feed like them.
It would probably help if we knew who Sakaro was. It would only tell us who first came down with it.
Sakuro. It means masculine renewal. Sunhood or cherry blossom in Japanese.
Cherry blossom sounds like a very feminine name. The last person to contract the ailment was Suling Sulu in the 2270s. It does seem strange it just reappeared now. And you mentioned the alternate reality where New Athens was attacked as having come from a holonovel.
We were very thorough. The holonovel posited a direct attack with an explosive, not an outbreak. But the point was the superweapon could be either a bomb or a plague, a deliberate act.
Now who do you think would gain from such an act? The ailment is extremely rare. for there to be any cases at all, and to send us on a mission for several days while it spread seems like a setup to me.
Who would do something like that?
I first assumed it was Q, but that's not his style. Life-threatening ailments usually are the work of other beings. He's more about judging and testing. I have an idea we're being manipulated by outside forces. I'm not sure how, but we seem to be led around on a leash, like creatures. We alone cannot solve this conundrum, but we can't just call up the holodoc and ask him.
I was the one that gave you the idea of that holo novel. I didn't think it would do anything to mention it. I was wrong.
And I mentioned another holo novel about parasitic beings, except those are eating stars, which is still stupid.
We also came here, too, from a ship of another captain, one that brought us here, to you.
But he's gone now. Not sure where he is.
That's convenient.
The Ferguson left me here days ago. You were gone for nearly 16 days relative, but to you it might have seemed shorter. What? Shipboard time said only a week had passed.
Esteban, come in. Commander Astor, what is the date?
On the ship it's April 16th. No, 22nd. How did that just change, sir? Maintain red alert and engage temporal shields. If you don't hear back from us in 15 minutes, get out of here. Go warn Starfleet Command. What is happening down there, sir? The shape-shifting clouds have infiltrated the city. What? How's that possible?
And they're temporally able to influence us. That's just lovely. We'll just find a way to block them if we can.
Status report. The alien fleet is continuing to orbit the planet, but we're on the surface. They seem unaware we came here.
Either that or they don't consider us a threat.
The cloaking device stays up there.
The last crew to fight them used antimatter to destroy them at the Tycho planet.
We know nothing about the newcomers, but presume them to be hostile. They don't seem friendly. Maybe they want to trick us into detonating antimatter, like in that story we discussed. That seems unlikely. If they were anything like the one Kirk met over a century ago, they would only want to feed on humanoids. They wouldn't be sophisticated enough to plant a bomb.
They didn't come here to talk. Probably not. The temporal shields are also blocking any signals from the enemy ships, as they might send mental signals also. And it was a good thing, too.
Still, I wonder how and why the hunt we went on began, and how we were so eager to leave this place to go on it. Now that we're here, it's like we're being manipulated. I don't think we're going to get a conversation going. Opening a channel to them might give them an in to mess with us. I think we could tap into their conversations and see what they're discussing. No, that might also alert them. They came here to feed, and yet there were so few patients with an unusual viral down there. They don't want to eat them. They want to have fresh victims. Suppose something is different enough about Centaurus humans that they can't digest it. They detest copper-based blood plasma. We give them a dose of that.
We don't have a very large store of Vulcan blood.
Tabby is a Romulan. They're cousins to Vulcans. She's at the planet in the meeting.
I'm still not sure they're even the same energy creatures. We know they're behaving that way, but we would have to scan them fully to know for sure.
The material they're made from, which gives them their name, reacts to space-time and to iron oxides more than copper does. Doing a scan of the planet and comparing it to the other planets. This area is very rich in copper, sir. So were the asteroids where the companions were. The ones where the Tycho battle took place had a lot of iron, but copper also. The places the companions most reproduced were distasteful to the Draconian creatures.
But what about the offspring that named themselves after Cochrane and Hedford? They're humanoids, and scan out as humans now.
They're not friends or enemies. The only real similarities are someone can produce metals, and carbon, and other elements. They cannot be good or evil, but the vampire-like creatures do display evil somehow.
Maybe their morals are just different. The companions seem incapable of true malice, whereas the predatory clouds act more like a weapon. If they could transform into other elements, they could cause a lot of damage.
Could they even make people sick with an old virus?
That is possible. All they have to do is copy how it works. They could sit back and infect an entire planet.
Hope it doesn't come to that. Give me Rashenko on a coded channel. This is crazy. How are we going to convince the invaders of our intention?
The Esteban crew needs our help to infiltrate the alien collective link, and here we are.
I could be killed again.
They seem to think we can stop the entities because we have copper-based barriers.
The other cloud entities have a taste for iron, but you really think these barriers will work? I sure hope so.
Were they the universal threat? Before the Borg reappeared? Maybe they were. They were displaced, or saw us closing the gate, and displaced themselves. I think it more likely they displaced the Borg, to replace them and escape our gate. I don't do battle. I know nothing of fighting techniques. Sure, I can regenerate like we all can, but that's not an offense. It's merely repair.
If somehow we could isolate and cure the virus, we could have. But for now, the aliens want to damage the humans in a similar way to the virus, and we can't fight them.
This isn't a fight. It's a spy mission.
I would make a terrible spy.
And I would be a less than stellar diplomat. They are here, already in the realm.
There's cloud things, but now they are forming. The other is forming as well.
I am Jurati of Borg. You will address me.
I do not care. You're not part of the project. Displace them, or feed on them. No, they have metals we do not like the taste of.
That's right. You don't like the copper, but you do like the iron. I've been told this.
Jurati does not interest me. How did you get into the network?
I'm your bad side, in a way. It wasn't that hard to track your malevolence.
The Centaurians are not quite as tasty. We had to urge them along. We gave them a mystery box. A deadly one. Genetic and quantum manipulation. No, merely manipulation. Propaganda, the stories, legend.
I had the condition, or my ancestor did. The one you were able to replicate. My ancestor was able to remove it by transforming the human part of me completely into the cloud species.
Not my process. The replication was done by the flesh and blood. We do not interrupt the plan with such talk.
The plan has claimed 11 of the 20 infected by the viral so far. Oh, clever and dark ones. But not any kind of racial context. Oh, yes. Please tell us how you manipulated the flesh one.
These two aren't the master entities. They were not aware of his plans. We should just leave.
Oh, they know how it all works. It's like a collective to them, or a great link. A collective, oh yes. Please tell us what you know.
You're trying to trick us. How did you get in here? They're aware of our mental blocks. That one is not one of us. But you see, we're like you. We're cloud creatures. Yes. Depart from this place before they gain access. I think you're too late. I used to be a genius warp drive inventor. This little mystery box is easy to get out of.
Resistance is futile. Children of the Tycho creature.
No, not that. The master will punish us for letting you in. Good. Let them.
We need to go, now.
The connection will be severed now. You two, how did they get past the firewalls and get in here? I do not know, sir. They had interference patterns all over them. They what? How was it even possible? Only the other canary creatures have such skills. Oh no, it cannot be. They were imprisoned. They evidently are not, and are using their powers to shield us from their thoughts. No, they'll ruin the operation. I thought for sure you were not that incompetent, and to let them in here. But no, you were. Now we have to terminate the experiment. But we don't have enough data on the sick humans to infect the cousin Centaurians yet. We will have to start over. We shall cleanse the area and eradicate all traces we were here. And blame it all on the dimensional beings. The temporal war will continue.
Well, that was incredibly risky and dumb. But we saw it pulled it off. Woo.
Did you get the information we need? And then some.
The kids back on the ship had a crazy idea. Spraying them with oxides of metals they disliked made them bitter. The aliens took us to be similar enough to them to disclose some of their plan, just enough to find the missing part of the story. We infiltrated their network because it was trying to get to ours. They didn't know who we were, just that we were like them. We played like we were evil. What do we have? Did you find out who started the outbreak? The memory prime files are coming in now on what we found over there. The files are being composed.
Files are accessed, all firewalls in place. You humans can't just think it and make it happen, like companions and their ability to transform. Cillians can also do that, but usually when they do, it goes badly. Then we usually have to go and clean up the mess. The files are fully online for Jurati to tell us in summary.
Yes, Commander. Their plan started as humiliation for what happened over a century back at Tycho. They wanted at first to blow up the city, but were stopped. So the next time, a long time later, in our current era, they infected some humans, not Centauri, who were on the planet.
I always assumed Cochrane of Alpha Centauri to just mean that he moved there, but it turns out some of my ancestors' unusual genes meant he actually was part Centaurian.
You had a natural immunity to Sakuro's disease without even knowing you did. The aliens engineered it to be contagious to some iron-rich blood cells, using the methyl mixture, but did not know that copper oxides react differently to it.
It is the same aversion to copper blood the Tycho creature had, which they tried to overcome using a new transformation, and these new aliens are confirmed to be his offspring.
The cloud creatures could manifest as solid and implant the infection on any planet, then pretend to come and cure it, and make profit off it.
This wasn't so much an act of revenge as a corporate act of terror. What did we do about them?
We have no defense against them, if they all manifested here and started taking us down. They'll probably try once they get word back to their leader, presuming they have one. Their leader is called the Master. They were upset he might punish them. You would think a truly evil creature meeting his master would not be punished, but rewarded for being bad. We could summon the other companions to come join us here, and they could fight them.
You don't really fight.
The companions were probably once merely servant creatures, distantly related to the predatory ones, made from the rare dichronium element. It's very much an iron-absorbing compound. How can we stop them with that knowledge?
We must find a way to disperse them, short of tossing quantum torpedoes at them, which they could dodge and risk the planet's inhabitants. Without the use of the antimatter device to destroy them, I do not see how this would work.
Captain, come quick. The patients are all going comatose. It's as if a kill switch has been activated. Now would be the time to implement the plan. Haven't been tested. There's no time to waste.
The aliens have begun transforming a large vessel over the central power facility, hoping to disrupt it, and it would obliterate the city and all traces of us. You must do something now before it finishes. Everyone back to the ship. We shall call it Operation Komodo Dragon. That sounded cooler when I said it than it did coming out of me. Let's go. Where is the location of the enemy starship?
The ship is hovering over the reactor core and charging weapons, using a plasma-like beam to try and breach the walls. They will be through in no time, sir.
Once the beam cuts through the reactor, it will destroy New Athens and a good part of this continent. Just like in the holonovel. Not now with the holonovel.
Tabby and Tendy report that 3 of the patients have died, and a 4th is dying. Captain, they're using a kill switch of sorts, as the infection is artificial, made from essentially nanoprobes, programmed to imitate it. If we could disrupt that programming, the viral is gone.
How do we do that?
We could do it, but we need more of us.
A lot more of us. Maybe all of us.
The aliens use dimensional travel. Can we use that?
Not from here. Astrophage, like in that Andy Weir book. Don't be ridiculous, Jeremy. No, well, obviously not the fictional element. Hear me out. We need to scatter the beam so it doesn't breach the wall. Temporal and main shields to full. Put us between them and their weapon. Then prepare to fire into the enemy's ship. That would blow us up, giving the aliens their antimatter explosion for them.
I have a better idea. You need a crazy distraction. Come, companions. We will use our ship as a distraction. We are like changelings, but the odds of surviving that are astronomical.
Let us make it plasma dimming distraction. Energize the ship.
The board ship and the companion ship have transformed, moving to within range of the enemy starship.
The board ship is following and has overtaken us. Now, Mr. Paris. The Girardi females are disrupting the beam. They did it.
We are being hailed. It's the alien master.
Keep the shields and firewalls to maximum and open a coded channel. We are the children of Tycho creature, where we'd lived for a long while, changeling and not. This war is not with you. Break off your attack and let us destroy these impure pests to the operation. Oh, we didn't send the Borg. They did that on their own. I think they might want to assimilate you. That is impossible. They cannot do that to us. Stop them from interfering with the plant, flesh creature. No, your plan is based on faulty upbringing.
Your race was a weapon to destroy a long-dead humanoid race that had iron blood. The companions, on the other hand, were designed to stop you, which is why I sent for them.
You are bluffing. Our material forms of Dicaronium did not exist until the long past centuries. But to destroy the flesh creatures in our wars, you could not have sent for the companions. Hey, how'd you get in here?
We are inside your mind.
Oh, we're here. You just don't know it yet. Prepare to absorb and transform them.
We'll take it from here, Captain Rashenko.
No, not that. Anything but that.
Watch our futures end.
They're decimated. They sacrificed themselves to destroy the ship.
Position on the rest of their fleet.
The fleet is in retreat, but there's another fleet that just appeared out there. It's the Laurelians and the Companions.
Resistance is futile. And the reactor? The reactor wall is breached, but shields have gone up. The reactor will not go critical. Summoning repair teams. Commander Astor, go right on quoting Hull novels.
How do you know, sir?
I was hoping to make an impact, even if we weren't supposed to. The boring ship is hailing. On screen.
The lead Dicaronium creature is dead, and the rest are scattered. And with the data from their ship, we can cure the remaining people. As for Cochrane and Nancy, the clone siblings, they're gone. But there are others.
Captain's log, stardate 85423.8, April 23, 2408. The enemy cloud ships have fled the Centauri system, with the companion ships in chase. Tabby and Tendi were able to create a complete antidote for the space viral. 10 of the infected perished. The last one will make a full recovery.
That's it. This one checks out. It's completely cured of the pathogen.
That good work, Doctor. You might consider remaining on this station, if you like.
No, I'm retired. Just come back now and then.
We make a good team.
You know the masterpiece isn't the master's piece. It's the work the apprentice creates.
Fascinating. They were using a synthetic version of the virus to cause havoc, not even for revenge.
Apparently so. They almost managed to infect Centauri people with it. They might try again.
It wouldn't have mattered if we'd stayed here. We might have made too much of a mess if we had.
Someone was looking out for us and made sure we weren't here.
What became of the Zephram and Nancy clones? I hope some of them are out there.
I suspect there are more of them, but I am not anxious to meet the only survivor, just in case it changes history somehow.
I don't think that would be a problem.
You and the other Jurati decided to stay.
Our ship is trash. We'd like to join your crew if that's all right.
They're displaced. It won't change the timeline.
You can come along, but don't lead us on another wild fowl chase.
You figured it was us, but all four of us. The patient is on the screen in the chamber if you want to meet her.
Very well.
And greetings from the Traveler people, Mr. Rashenko. I am Cora Soon.
I did not see that coming.
She allowed herself to become infected just to meet with us. That's insane.
I applaud your efforts figuring this out. I'm sure you'll have many other missions which will be more challenging from now on. But thank you.
I am sure the travelers will keep us informed. It's good you lived. I accept.
Very well, you accept. You're now part of the Temporal Core. I see. Let's get back to the ship. The traveler lady Kur soon risked her life on a hunch. I find that disturbing, but now we should get out of here.
I won't miss coming out here, but this has been a strange mission. I think the Traveler lady saw future outcomes. That Jack Crusher guy was in on it.
Kur Soon was a displaced human from 2024, an ancestor of Data, actually. Well, his distant great-aunt, I guess. Jeremy, please. She was more of his ancestor than his aunt. It could be worse. In one timeline called Star Trek Online, I get married at only 12 Terran years old. That's just messed up. I was born in 2366. I could not be married in 2377. They just can't do math. Yes, my nephew. You've been doing research at other timelines. Good. only to keep up with my Uncle Jeremy Astor.
Shall we be going? We're knowing out of four and all that.
Yes, set a course for Rigel, a star I've never visited. The real one, not the fake ones.
Course plotted and laid in, sir. The Rigel binary. Yes, sir.
Dun 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 dun. Engage.
Dun 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 dun.